How about a pollinator garden tour on a full sun day? What could be better? Stay tuned, we'll do that right now. It looks really amazing. The sun is out. Let's go see what's buzzing around. So this is a true pollinator garden. I have not weeded it at all, and it needs to be weeded. So I thought we would get a full tour. We should have all kinds of fun stuff going on in here. So let's walk down, and you can see I've got some nice pink lilies, Asiatic lilies that are just finishing up. And then I've got some campanula there, which actually behaves itself quite well. Some people feel that the campanula is quite invasive. I have not had a lot of issues with it. This is a very tall, this has got to be 3.5 feet tall, these lilies. And they're just really quite stunning, these yellow lilies on each side. And they're really stunning. They're just beautiful. No matter how you look at them, you can see this. The lilies are in command today. I have some milkweed here that is just kind of finishing blooming. You can see it's just covered in flies right now. No monarchs at this minute, but the flies are enjoying the scent. I'm going to step through here. I really like putting some dark foliage in. This is a Husker Red Penstemum, and I really want to come out and start harvesting these. They should be close to being ready to dry, and I want to try to start some from seed. So I've got just quite an array of colors in here. So you've got the white gooseneck flowers, also known as loosestrife, which is pretty invasive. I wish I would never put it in my garden. But I'm going to enjoy it for a day or so, and then I'm going to come and do some weeding. I had some strange things go on this year. These were my Russian sage, and the ones that I had on the outside of the garden here, I had 4 of them, and they all died. And then my original Russian sage is doing fine. So it might have been a different variety. We had a very hard winter. I had a lot of stuff die that more stuff die than I've ever had. So that's just bizarre. So I think I'm going to replace these spots. I've got 4 of them like this big opening in the garden with some nice hydrangeas, because I think that would give some nice towering effects in here. And I've got heavy clay soil, so it's going to have to be sun loving, whichever ones I choose. And I've done pretty good with a lot of the paniculatas, so I'm going to pick something to go in here. Maybe I'll get something like Firelight to go in here. If anybody has any recommendations for which hydrangea I should put in here, there'll be 4 of them that will be spaced throughout the garden. But I think that's what I'm going to put in here is an hydrangea. Because I do have a whole patch of Russian sage there, so I'm not missing out on anything. So what's not blooming right now are my white phlox. That's what is right here. And my very blue delphiniums are still going strong. This variety of delphiniums are shorter than the Pacific Giant variety, and it's from the Fantasia collection. I have another Penstemum Husker Red there, some more red lilies. What I did when I planted this garden, for those of you that are new to my channel, is I did them in sections. So I kind of put things together as if it was a bouquet for what would be blooming at that time of year. As we go through here, you can just see just how much of this loosestrife I have, also known as gooseneck, just everywhere in here. It's crazy. As we continue down through, here's a native thistle. It's not a Canadian thistle, it's just a native thistle, and I'll come through probably and weed that out of here. And then I've got some more garden phlox hidden and tucked away in here. I usually have deer eat it, but it hasn't been too bad this year. Here I have the original Russian sage that I've had in here forever, and it's not really blooming yet. It's a little late. Usually my Russian sage blooms by 4th of July, and today is, I think, the 10th of July, something like that. And it's, I'm really surprised it didn't go yet. So in this little section, I have the Russian sage, which should be a nice purpley color when it's blooming, and some beautiful pink kind of two-tone pink lilies, and look at how beautiful they are. They've been in here. I think this garden is probably almost 7 years old. So it was probably just one bulb that was there. Again, it's Asiatic, so they multiply through their bulbs, which is nice. The very front of the garden, I have some more thistle, which is no big deal. I'll pull those out. And then I had a bunch of the very front of my border, which is just done blooming. I can cut this back and it'll bloom again, or Johnson Blue geranium, which is a hardy geranium for my zone. So that's what that looks like, this bloom that hasn't finished, and it's all along the front of this border. So as I keep going down, we get to another area where I have some nice bright colors. This is the bright border, which has oranges and reds and things like that. For my husband, it's got some really dark lilies in here, and these are orange daylilies, orange and red daylilies that will be coming. And then I've got some actual milkweed in here. This is that orange variety, which is really nice too. Whew. Birds just flew off and scared me. And then I've got some more phlox in here. You can see this looks pretty good coming along. And then I've got Canadian thistle, which is my one I really don't like. And I need to come deadhead before it starts receding everywhere. You can see down the trail here, I've got quite a bit of it. So this needs to be removed. But again, I thought I would leave it as natural for now. I just need to get it out of here before it goes to seed. And as I go through here, you can see I still have a lot more lilies and stuff like that. Some of this other stuff that's done blooming already, these were daffodils that I had in the spring. It was for my spring garden. I could maybe put some video in and show what this looks like, because I refer to this garden as my Dutch garden, and this particular one had just so many flowers in it. This particular year, we've had so much rain that the garden is just absolutely spectacular, except for the things that don't like that much water. This is a heavy clay ground, and because I've had so much rain, more than what I need, then I have my oriental lilies here that died. They rotted right in the ground. So I luckily had some seeds, and I'm trying to grow some from seed to replace these. You can see just how stately these lilies are. I mean, they're really, really tall. And they'll be blooming for maybe one more week, and then they're going to be done. So having some hydrangeas to take us through fall would probably be my something I need to add. So that's what I have never had, that finishing garden look here. So I get through July and then it kind of looks kind of dull. So it'd be good to bring some hydrangeas into the border itself. Here we have some shooting stars, or liatris, gay feather, whatever you want to call it. Some nice purple, and it is kind of reseeded everywhere. I've got it all the way around this end of the garden, and it's just starting to come into bloom. So another week or so, maybe I'll do another walk, and I'll be able to show what this purple looks like when it's in full bloom. And then it looks pretty nice next to that yellow. I think that is a good contrast. It's really bright and cheery. And as I come around, I got a bird bath that needs to be cleaned. This is my weedy garden tour. Did I mention that? And this is some kind of shrub. I don't know what it is. I've got some perennial hibiscus in here. The giant hibiscus. That's what that is right there. And so that's going to be blooming. And ironically, I had a real problem with the Japanese beetles earlier this spring, but I'm not seeing too many. I mean, it was really bad, and it's not bad at all anymore. As we come in here, I've got some nice lilies in here too, and I don't know what some of these names are. If anybody knows what some of the names are, they can tell me. I just don't remember lots of time, because this variety is starting to just see how bright and colorful that is. Orange, you know, it's like pink and yellow. And then I have some more of these Fantasia delphiniums at the back of the border, and I'm going to let these dry a little bit, and I'm going to come and harvest them. The good thing to know about delphiniums is if you deadhead them, if you take them down to 2 feet above the ground, they will come again. I've had delphiniums blooming all the way into Thanksgiving, which is in November in the United States, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to come around here now. I have some purple gay feather liatris, and you can see that against those pink lilies, and that does look really nice too. So the other side was the yellow, and this side is the pink, and I think it just looks really good. And my gardens have many layers to them. So my lower layer here, these are balloon flowers that are just starting to open, which was my daughter's favorite. So this was for this garden here was for my daughter. So you can see how pretty the little balloon flowers are when they open. And then when they open up, then you get some nice bees. There's one doing his business right there. Nice little bee. I also have lots of tree volunteers I'm seeing in here. This is a shrub, probably a highbush cranberry. And then I got some red maples coming. I'll have to get those out of here. Then I have I had the Johnson blue geranium on the other side, and this is the standard pink variety. I think it may be Patricia. So this is in here too. Again, all of this can be pulled and dug out, and something I'll start working on maybe tomorrow. Take another look and see how that looks like. So we'll do a pan view right now to show what this looks like again from the other end. Lots and lots and lots of color. We have a few more weeks of it to bloom, and then it's going to be done for the season. Bloom flowers are just fun. They come in 3 different colors. They come in white, pink, and purple, but I've only just had the purple. I do have a few oriental lilies in here. My oriental lilies in Zone 4 by Minneapolis don't start blooming until around the first week of August. So that's what this is, an oriental. So I'm waiting for that one to come. If I go through here, my thistle forest, which is unfortunate. Here I've got some more of this milkweed, a random balloon flower that had to reseed itself, I guess. And then these other pink lilies, which have a little bit different characteristic to them. So look at those. That's nice too. It's a darker pink. Just the difference between the heights. That's only a foot off the ground. These are 2+ feet off, almost 3 feet off the ground, probably 3 feet. Again, walking around the thistle forest. Lots of good pollinator things, but I could see I really need to get out here. Those are starting to go to seed, like right there. I don't want that. And then just looking through here, we get to the center section. And again, it is completely covered with these loosestrife flowers, which every year I say I'm going to pull up, and I just never quite get to it. Nice white and blue. And I do have some red there too, so it's a red, white, and blue garden for Patriot Garden. Again, there was another Russian sage in here that didn't make it. That's bizarre. I wonder if I got a tag left to see which variety it was that didn't make it. Here is a bee balm. This is standard red bee balm, which is really bright and cheery. Again, they like it a little drier, so I don't have as many of those as I thought I should have. It doesn't seem to be holding out very good. And then I have some purple coneflower right there that are coming, but they just haven't made it yet. And there's a bright, bright orange regular Asiatic lily. I think that was a gift from a friend. So as we come through here, you can see these as well. I'll get some more shots in here. So looking at it from this venue, you can see the blue in the foreground, the red, and the white. So that's a good option if you wanted a Patriot Garden that would bloom around 4th of July. You get the red, white, and the blue flowers. Interesting. Maybe I'll do a Patriot Garden later. I'll finish up here. Yeah, you can see where these are drying. Oh, they're starting to open. I'll have to get out and harvest them. See, this is what they look like when they're done. They start to open up. This is the delphiniums. I need to get out and grab them. I'll get a bag and break them off, put them in the bag so I don't lose any of that beautiful seed. And then I'll just start it over again. Here's a little random 9 bark that came in to the garden as well. So and then I exit this yellow mass of flowers. If you've enjoyed this garden tour, give us a thumbs up so YouTube knows to share this content with others. Also consider subscribing so you don't miss any of our other great videos. If you like garden tours, check this playlist next. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.